What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Kozmo back with another deck profile, and today I'm doing a deck profile of Cosmos. This was one of my favorite decks of all time. I love this deck. I know this deck. I know the ins and outs of this deck, and I was very successful with this deck when it first came out. I went to a couple of regionals, did really well. I guess how I got the name. That's why all my team members call me Cosmo. So this was the deck that brought me back into Yu-Gi-Oh. I remember when I quit Yu-Gi-Oh back in around 2014. When Clash Rebellion came out in 2015. This was the deck for me, and this was the deck that brought me back so far over the years. It's kind of lost its edge a little bit because it's on the Link Summon and all this crap. But this deck can still go if you know how to play this deck. You know how to pilot this deck. You can really catch some people off guard. So without further ado, let's get into the deck profile. Let me show you my deck choices on how I play Cosmo. There's so many different ways you can play Cosmo. There's a Fire King build. There's an ABC build. There's I think there's a Mech Knight build, but there's so many builds you can play with Cosmo. But me personally, I love the pure build. And when you're playing the pure build, you have to run 3 copies of Tin Can. Tin Can is the most essential monster in this deck. If you don't see Tin Can in your opening hand, you're in trouble. You better find a way to get him. So Tin Can, if you don't know what Tin Can do, once Tin Can is summoned, you can at the end phase. That's the only downfall at the end phase, but it's cool. He dodges Effect Veiler. That's for damn sure. So you play him. You get to search for 3 different Cosmo cards. Your opponent chooses which one goes to your hand, and the other 2 go to the graveyard, which is awesome, And you can do it on either player's turn during the end phase. So you have to open up with Tin Can. Tin Can gets your plays going. So Tin Can is very important. Next off, Triple Dank. Dank Destroyer, baby. Yeah. I was so happy when this card came off the ban list. I think Tamias, when he did his ban list reaction, he was like, shit. But I love Dank, man. Like, this was the original problematic card on the field, man. Like, once he hit the board, like, it was your opponent had to raise so many resources. Maybe not so much now, but the good thing about him is he can't be targeted, and he's a 3,000 beat stick for free, pretty much in this deck. So you have to run 3 copies. When he was at 1, you had to run 1, but now he's at 3. You have to run 3 copies of Dank. So there you go. I was so happy when he came back. I'm like, yes. All we need now is E-Tele to come back. Next off, I run 3 copies of Kozmo Slip Rider. I do not run those gold cards. I hate gold. I can't stand gold. Oh, gold is like the worst rarity in Yu-Gi-Oh. So, anyways, this is my MST of the deck. He pops stuff, even when he's tributed, he can pop stuff. So you gotta run 3 copies of Slip Rider because he goes into your Affinity. So you gotta run 3 copies of him. Next off, I run 2 copies of Farm Girl. Ain't she so pretty, you guys? Ain't she so pretty? Hey, she's 16. Remember that, she's 16. But you gotta run 2 copies of Farm Girl because she kind of like opens up your plays. If you have a wide open board, which most of the time I do in this deck, you can go off. Like, Farm Girl can get plays going, and if you have more pilots in your hand, you just go up the ladder. So I run 2 copies of Farm Girl. I remember when this card used to be like dumb expensive back in the day. Next, I run 2 copies of Strawman. Strawman allows you to get your ships from your bandage zone to the field. Help you to extend your link plays if you want to play links in this deck. You don't really have to, but you can. Help you to extend your attacks. And you can always tag him out to do more attacks. So 2 copies of Strawman. I think this is the right ratio for him. I know some people play him at 3, which is kind of crazy. Some people play him at 1. Now you got to be able to see him. So 2 copies of Strawman. Now for my one-ofs, I can finally say I run 1 copy of Dark Eclipser. Dark Eclipser he gets the job done. I don't really like his effect where he doesn't really when he gets destroyed, he doesn't replace himself. He adds it to the hand instead. the level lower than him, which is okay. But I remember when Dank was at 1, he was at 2, but now he's back at 1, and I think that's where he should stay at 1. Next off, I run one Forerunner. He helps you, gain life points, and he also can't be targeted. Yeah, he can't be targeted as well, so that's a good thing. So, you know, Cerberus cannot destroy him. And a lot of cards, like nowadays, all the cards still target, One copy of Dogfighter, he is dumb busted. I always had it in my side, but now I main him. This took over Landwalker's spot. He can make tokens, and your tokens are 2,000 beat sticks. And you can also use them for link fodder if you want to go into Queefort Genius if you wanted to. So I want one copy of Dogfighter. He's so easy to come out, so easy to make him, so easy to search him. I love this deck, point blank. I want one copy of Dark Lady. She is my, she negates effects, and she's busted as well. I only want one copy. I used to have her at 2, but I think 1 is been fine enough for me. Cause like I said, it's so easy to search these guys in this deck. Next off, I won one copy of Kozmo Wicked Witch. She's really good. Like if I need to, kind of stall for a turn or so, she helps. Like she can't be destroyed by battle or card effects. All you gotta do is just pay a stack and you're good. So I run one copy of her. Next off, to run off my Kozmo monsters, I want one copy of Sword Troopers. So let's just say if I have psychics in the graveyard, they can summon the psychics back to the field, and the effect's not negated, which is pretty cool. But just gotta pay a stack. With it could cost you in Kozmo, because Cosmos have a way of burning through your life points easily. So you have to be very careful and use those life point trackers. When you lose the life points, you have to be very cautious on what you do. So I want one copy of Sword Troopers, and to back up my Cosmos, I think that running the Kaiju engine is always good in this deck. Running the Kaijus can help you, because Cosmos can't get rid of problematic cards. So having the Kaijus to back you up is awesome. So I run the Kaijus, and that ends my monsters. Now time for my spells. One of the best broken ass field spells in this game today is Cosmotown. Cosmotown is right up there with Trickstar, Light Stage, and Harpy's Hunting Ground. I said it in all my deck profiles because this field spell is like busted. Okay, I love this field spell. Your opponent wants to pop it, they're in trouble. I have to add a Cosmo card to my deck, and I can always, if I have bad Cosmos in my hand, let's shuffle them back and draw the same number I shuffled back. So this card is good. It's so good. You gotta play 3 copies of Cosmotown. I don't know why you wouldn't play 3 copies. Next off, I run 2 copies of Kaiju Slumber. I did have this at 1, but I think 2 is pretty good for me at the moment. I get to if I have Cosmo ships on board, you just think about the combos with that. It's bust wide open for open fields. So I run 2 copies of Kaiju Slumber. Next off, I run 1 copy of E-Telly. This card needs to come back to 3. Please, Konami, please. I don't care about them other decks like World Chalice or whatever. Just bring back for Cosmos, please. And then I run 1 copy of Reasoning. Reasoning is pretty good. Like I said, Cosmos' only downfall is their normal summon. Their normal summon can really hurt. I mean, the good thing is they can tag out, but somebody solemn warning your cards, you're kind of fucked. So Reason helps you give that extra summon. For my hand traps, I do play 2 copies of Infinity or Infinite Imperience. I don't run Blossom in them because I really don't want to I want Cosmos in my hand. I don't want other hand traps. So this one is pretty good. If I have Cosmos on board, I can always set it. And it's cool. So I run 2 copies of this. Opening up with this card is really good, and it has worked well for me. Next off, I run 3 copies of Call by the Haunted. So like I said, you put in tin can, dumping ships into the graveyard, and bringing them out with Call Called by the Haunted is awesome. I remember this one time his opponent he kaiju my Dark Destroyer, and he thought that he was cool. He said, "Yeah, I got your Dark Destroyer off the field now, punk." So I was like, "Called by the Haunted." I brought back Dark Destroyer and popped his kaiju, and he was like, "What the fuck?" I was, "Yeah, I like that. I like that. I like that." So you gotta run 3 copies of Called by the Haunted. It's awesome, awesome card. Next off, I run 2 copies of Kozmo. I did have it at 3, but since, I don't really see the need for having the 3 anymore. And plus, there's other new cards that I want to try out and play. So, yeah, this card is so good. It doesn't target, and it gets rid of problematic cards like Boral Sword or Boral Load. Or, it gets rid of a lot of cards that says they can't be targeted. So, especially in the mirror match against Kozmo, this card is pretty good. And then to round off, I do run the Solemn Brigade. Yeah, buddy. I love my Solemn Brigade, but if I wanted to, I could easily side these cards out and put in other things like Call by the Grave, or One for One. I could always These are always cards you can always side out, but these cards been coming up clutch for me. And that's my main deck, is 40 cards exactly. Now for the side deck, you don't really need a side deck. I mean, you don't really need an extra deck in this deck because the ships do the job itself. But this extra deck is just here just to help you, to prolong your combos, or to prolong your plays, or to get more damage in. So the new card that we all probably already know is P4 Genius. He's so easy to make with this. Using Dogfire for the tribute fodder to make him is really good. And then setting it off with you can, when you summon 2 cards simultaneously that points to, it helps you search out for more ships in your hand. So if you need Dank, it helps you search out for Dank. But I really don't make him, but he's there. That's to be there. The card that I go into the most is Affinity and Nova. It's pretty self-explanatory. One card that I always like to make too is Pallades. He comes up clutch sometimes. And then Chimera Tech, especially going against Cyber Dragon. Cyber Dragons is my enemy. One of my boys plays Cyber Dragons. Me and him go at it all the time. But this card helps me out a lot. Chimera Tech. Number Hope Harbinger. He comes up too, because now the Dank is back, so we get to play him. But, he comes up, kind of help me stop spells and stuff. Volcasaurus, he also comes up clutch. So those are the main monsters I normally run. And, one card I do recommend playing in this deck is Pot of Extravagance. If I did have it, I would probably side out my strikes and put in 3 Extravagance, because you really don't need your extra deck, really. But these cards come up clutch when, you need them. And these are my carry targets. It changes differently depending on my meta, or depending on who I know will play. But these are the cards that I know a lot of people play the most. These are all my targets for cherries. Strikers. I know Heroes, ABC, Mecha Fleet. He's a bitch. Ultimate Falcon. And these are all my cherry targets. So whatever you think that you don't want to whatever deck that gives you a hard time, you gotta play these. These cards help me out a lot, especially this fucker. I can't stand him. But yeah, that's my extra deck. And for my side, like I said, I normally don't really showcase my side deck, but this is my tournament deck. This is a deck that I take very, very seriously. I like to side my cherries. And here she goes. I think this is probably one of the good hand traps in this deck, because my opponent might not know that I have this card. So when I side it in game 2, I didn't know what they're playing. So if they're playing strikers and I go first, I could probably get rid of their especially their one Kagari now. So I run 3 copies of her. Next off, I run 2 copies of Cyber Dragon, because he's really good in this deck and against all these Cyber Dragon decks out there. I do want 1 copy of Good Witch in my side. She's cool. She doesn't really hurt links, but she can come up clutch against other cards. So I run one copy of her. And then for my spice, I do side out my Dark Planet. Dark Planet is busted. I know a lot of people don't play him, and believe me, I'm right there with you. I don't really like him because he doesn't replace himself, and it's stupid that you have to get rid of cards to summon him. It doesn't make any sense. He should just be like a regular ship, but he's not. But he's really good against Sky Strikers. They can't get over this guy because he can't be targeted, and they can't really do anything with him. And against Pendulum, he's good. And he's a 4,000 beast. The only way we can get him off the field, you attack over him, or you kaiju him. So he comes up. I like to side him out and just be like, boom, motherfucker. So I like this guy. So Dark Planet, he always used to be in my main, but since, Doc Destroy came back, I can put him back in the side. So that, and then more in my side, I do run 2 copies of Chitty Twister. You know me, I don't like back row, and I like to keep it that way. Next off, I do run 3 copies of Dimensional Barrier. I know this card doesn't really do too much for links, but Necros are a thing, and pendulums are a thing. Demion and all that. So I feel like Dimensional Barrier is a thing, and also the people that I play with at my locals, they like to play a lot of rogue decks. So like heroes, XYZ decks and all that stuff, synchro decks. Like this card shuts them down. So I like this card. I wish Links was in its text, but this card helps me out a lot. And to round it off, I do 1 copy of Imperial Order. That's to shut down spells, because like I said, I don't really play a lot of spells in this deck, and a lot of decks rely on spells, so. But that's my deck, you guys. I am the Kozmo King. I'm not the best Kozmo King out there. I know there's other good Kozmo players out there, but I love Cosmos, and this is one of my favorite decks of all time. I will love this deck to the very end. So I'd like to thank you guys for taking the time to listen to me and seeing my deck choices and how I play Cosmo. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to our channel for more Team Time Rider content. It's been Kozmo King signing out. Peace, y'all.